in the trenches every day and dealing with children who are doing horrific things that I don't think anybody in this room thinks are happening with children raping other children murdering and committing violent assaults against other children. They've come here because there's a need. They've come to us because they are finding cases where children are sending naked pictures of one another to each other, and there's nothing that they can do about it. There's no crime that they can charge, and these children are getting away with it, and children are being victimized. They wouldn't have come to us for a tool if a tool wasn't needed. So I, again, encourage everybody to stand up for the victims of these offenses, to stand up for our assistant county attorneys who are in the trenches, and vote yes in this law. Thank you very much.
Legislator Green.
Yes, I oppose this law because of its potential impact on youth. We do have a pipeline to prison, and we have too many non-violent offenders whose lives have been ruined and are incarcerated. So to reduce the pipeline to prison, we heard earlier about the awareness program, about prevention and intervention, and that's what I support. I do not support this piece of legislation.
Legislator Berkey.
Thank you. I first of all appreciate your respectful allowance of our discourse earlier, and I wanted to say that. I think that what you have in fact created, and the reason that you were elected unanimously as chair this year, is because you allow for respectful discourse. And I think that's the culture that we want to support, instead of one that penalizes. This is what Legislator Donaldson was talking about. And in committee, I serve on the very committee that Legislator Warrow chairs and Legislator Donaldson co-chairs. And I brought literature to that committee and shared it, in fact, widely with the rest of the legislators regarding the cost and benefits of cyberbullying, anti-bullying and anti-cyberbullying education and prevention. I asked to be appointed to a subcommittee, which we did, so that I could participate in the discussions with the schools, with you and other members of Ulster County government, so that before this would come to the floor, there would be an opportunity for us to review with various school boards and various school administrations this possible very, very cost-effective approach to preventing cyberbullying crime from occurring and changing the culture. My requests were ignored. And so I need to say that I oppose having this law be brought to the floor at this point without that due diligence and without those discussions with the school. When I went to my son's school to talk about bullying that was occurring with him, they pulled out a 30-year-old binder of the Olveus program, which is considered the most effective anti-bullying work and peer-to-peer and training the trainers education in the country. And the Highmark Foundation's report on that said that that would save incredible sums of money in terms of whether young people are even being diverted from the process of ending up with misdemeanors and ending up in prison. So I really believe that as a member of the legislature, I had a contribution to make. And I feel that that contribution was ignored, and I feel that it's being ignored in the way this law is being implemented. So I have to oppose this law, and I want to ask you to include me in future discussions as we move forward with the schools, because it's not over just because we might pass this law tonight. We need to continue that work and to be very diligent so that we can change the culture and cost our society a great deal less in the pain and suffering of children from cyberbullying. Thank you.
Just as a point of information, Legislator Berkey, that request to be at these meetings had never trickled back to me, so I don't want to, I don't want you to characterize it as ignored, that you weren't invited to come with me, but also it wasn't my meeting to invite people to. I was summoned to the meeting with the school superintendents.
Thank you, and I understand. I think we just need to correct that moving forward, and I want to see that we incorporate the anti-bullying prevention and education into everything that we do regarding this law. Thank you.
Legislator Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like yourself, I was severely bullied 5th grade through 8th grade. Had some severe incidents that took place prior to 5th grade. Started taking martial arts, took it pretty seriously, and after 2 years I didn't get bullied anymore. But you know, I witnessed some pretty serious things that happened to me, and it used to be a pretty scary place to go to school, you know, back 30, 35 years ago. And in today's world, it's a different type of bullying. With the cyberbullying, like you brought up, it transpires outside of school grounds. It takes place during summer and winter breaks. It can take place any time of the day. You don't have the protection of chaperones, teachers, school employees, or your parents to protect you. Incidents take place during bullying where people that are minors commit physical assaults on people, where they would be charged with a misdemeanor or even felony assaults if they were of majority age status. But yet somehow in society we're going to tolerate it if a minor commits the offense on another minor, or even people that are in that gray area of the age of 16 or 17. There was an incident that was well documented about 4 or 5 years ago with 2 18-year-olds at Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, where 2 roommates, one roommate thought it would be a really funny gag to secretly videotape his roommate having a homosexual encounter with his boyfriend, and he posted it on the internet, and his roommate was so traumatized that he committed suicide. And at that time, the law enforcement and prosecutors in the state of New Jersey, in Middlesex County, there were no laws on the books where they could prosecute this 18-year-old. And so essentially he walked away with a slap on the wrist. So if things like that happen where the students are younger and they're in high school, there needs to be laws on the books that address situations like this. There need to be laws on the books that address other types of situations like what you brought up before, that have to do with a whole new level of bullying that takes place on the internet. And you put a lot of work into this, as did the county executive, Mike Hine, and Mike Hine's office. There was tons of interaction with every school district and every superintendent and teachers all around this county. There are tons of diversionary programs. There are diversionary programs that private citizens put up their own time and money to put forth in this county, and we fund it through the legislature and through Mike Hine's office. So there are diversionary programs that are integrated in with this law. This law is a good law. It will help deter bullying in schools in Ulster counties. I'm voting yes on this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Legislator Parity.
Yes,
Sorry, I was just asking the clerk if you had spoken yet, because I know that Legislator Donaldson's queued up first for number 2. So continue.
Did he use my time up?
No, you're good to go.
Okay. Listen, from the very beginning, I have thought and still think this should be a state law, not a hodgepodge of county laws with borders. I think because of the nature of lines, this law will have more holes in it than a good Swiss cheese, quite frankly. And when the time comes, defense attorneys are going to have a field day with it. It may be unenforceable. A uniform state law could correct it. I think we're making a mistake. And you know, one of the, just for reference, one of the flyers that I got, from the folks that are supporting this, which I understand and respect, talked about possibly up to 20% of the students bully others. How many students does that mathematically give us in Ulster County? 5,000, 4,000, 8,000, I'm not sure how many students we have in the entire county. We could be a prosecutor's heaven, I guess, or an inquisition heaven, by just dragging people into the criminal justice system at whatever level it is. And certainly I like the intent of it. I don't like bullying. It's a terrible thing. But without a state law that's thought out even deeper than what this one is, and knowing the consequences, I think it's not going to be that effective. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Legislator Donaldson.
Thank you, Chair Crump. I know how terrible cyberbullying is. I've had to go to students' homes to tutor them because they wouldn't come to school, and I sat there and some of them, basically hug me and cry. I know what this does. And when I look at this, the unfortunate thing is those teenagers that are bullied are often, that are bullied often end up bullying others themselves. This law has no parental responsibility in the law, and that is something that needs to be addressed. Now, to answer Legislator Gerantine, the schools were not addressed until the law was ready to roll and the superintendent signed a letter in opposition. They were never brought in until that point. They have still not given a letter of support. And I will applaud Chairman Rock. He met with them to talk about it, mainly talk about the idea of what their responsibility is, because they were worried that they were going to have added responsibility. But they still are not in support. I have not seen one letter showing me that. And also, in regard to what Legislator Rom said about the felony, the original legislation that the county executive did, the Zoolander clause showing this law, had a felony written in it. I sent a copy of it today to the the legislative clerk for an example showing you that it was there, showing you somewhat of the original knee-jerk mindset that was put into the resolution. Now, like I said, it is not there now. And to answer Legislator Allen, he makes a comment that there are all these diversionary programs in the county. There are zero. Can I repeat that? Zippo, none. There is no diversionary program. They quoted the 180 program, but the 180 program does not address this. I know what the 180 program is. I fought for the 180 program 3 or 4 years ago to keep it. That does not address that. Now, maybe they might want to add something with it, but there is no diversionary programs in Ulster County other than what the schools attempt to do. So the county has done none, zippo, nada. And as a result, that's another reason why you can't support a law without actually having some type of instrument in line that's going to try to divert the kids from being turned into criminals. And also, like Legislator Parity pointed out, you have one in Ulster County. What happens if there's some bullying from Dutchess or what have you, and vice versa? It becomes a legal nightmare. That's just one little aspect. That's not the reason I'm voting against it. I gave you all the other reasons, but it is a point. Thank you.
Legislator Delfilio.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm going to be very brief, but really the purpose of a law is the prevention of the said offense that we're trying to prevent, I guess. We don't want to incarcerate children. We're going to prevent them from cyberbullying. And any law that's written well will aid in the prevention. With that said, and with what every other legislator said about briefs, in December of 2016, I proposed a budget amendment for prevention of cyberbullying, and I brought in a group called Don't Be a Monster. It's actually a national organization that they go to schools and they have programs, and it's not really a peer program type of thing, but it's based on like superheroes and monsters. And one of the agencies that are involved in this Don't Be a Monster is the Headless Horseman in my town. And back in the late fall, I was quoted in the newspaper on the cyberbullying law, and they contacted me and he said, we have a program for prevention and we're in the schools right now. So I proposed a $10,000 budget amendment to the Ways and Means Committee for the prevention of cyberbullying. And any legislator that says they're in support of prevention with this law should have voted to get that money for that agency. Instead, we dilly-dallied, and what we did was, we need to look at other agencies and see what other diversion programs there are, what other prevention programs there are. So now there's $10,000 sitting in our legislative budget, which we've done squat about trying to get prevention for this local law. And I'm going to bring it up next month because we got to form a committee. If we're going to research all these organizations, there are millions of them out there, I'm sure. Instead of supporting a local agency, we're going to go to some other county to have them come in here and try to prevent our kids from cyberbullying. But if you want this, I'm sorry, if you want this law to have teeth in it and you want prevention, then let's do prevention. We got $10,000 in the budget right now, in our budget, so let's do it, and let's not talk about doing it. Again, I support this local law.
Legislator Berkey.
Yes, that was actually Legislator Bartels and I who felt that it was more important for us to diligently, as we actually have been doing, research the availability and effectiveness of programs regarding cyberbullying and anti-bullying, education and prevention. It has actually been found that holding assemblies is very ineffective in preventing bullying, and we did an incredible amount of background research to figure out what we should do, and a committee was indeed created. And so I would like to suggest that we do take this back to the committee where it started, and that you are welcome, Legislator Belfilio, to attend that, and that we talk about, in fact, what's most effective, and then go back to the schools and talk with them about how we can implement it with their help. Thank you.
Legislator Allen.
Chairman, to address some points that were brought up by Legislator Donaldson and Legislator Parity, I agree with Legislator John Parity. I brought up some questions in caucus with staff from County Executive Mike Hines' office. I shared Legislator Parity's concern that Legislator Donaldson reiterated about if somebody is in Dutchess County and they're cyberbullying somebody who lives in Ulster County, where do the jurisdictional parameters fall into place with somebody being charged with a crime, and things of that nature. So it does turn into this legal nightmare trying to sort those types of things out. But to address Legislator Donaldson's comment about diversionary programs, perhaps I was using the incorrect vernacular to describe what I meant. There are a lot of anti-bullying programs that are funded through money that comes through taxpayers and through the county executive's office, and there's private business owners, like what Legislator Belfiglio mentioned, the owner of Headless Horseman Haunted House and Hay Rides in Esopus. He came in and he put up a request for some funding, and he gets some funding through the county executive's office. He runs a program that's trademarked through the United States, anti-bullying program that goes through the school districts, where he's very active in multiple school districts, called Don't Be a Monster. It's been shown to be very effective. He's very passionate about it. He actually admitted to us that he was a bully himself, where he bullied people back when he was in Kingston school districts. Also, we have anti-stigma programming within the schools. We are amending, the county executive's office is amending 180 programs within the school districts right now to address the cyberbullying program. They're working with Voice Theater to address bullying and cyberbullying in educational settings and parameters. I think if we do nothing, and if we don't, voting no on this law sends the wrong message. I think that you're saying that bullying is permissible, that bullying is acceptable, and it's not.
Call the question.
Call the question.
Please. Call the question.
On the resolution,
We are a short yes.
We're a short yes with the following no's. Bartels, Berkey, Donaldson, Green, and Parity.
The resolution is adopted 18-5.
Resolution 99, approving the execution of a contract in excess of $50,000 entered into by the county. Ulster County Economic Development Alliance, Inc., Department of Planning.
on the Legislator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I alluded in my speech, myself and Chairman Maloney will be putting together that list to begin to actually hold the executive end accountable. That said, we will be supporting, I think by and large, maybe one or two no votes, this particular grant or this particular allocation. That said, it should not be mistaken as if somehow we're taking a knee. We will be bringing up a resolution next month specifically with regards to holding the executive office accountable, with regards to some standards, with regards to some measure of accountability, so that way it's not just throwing money at the problem. Thank you.
On the resolution,
We are short yes.
We're short yes with the following no. Legislator Donaldson.
Legislator Briggs is not here. Legislator Warren is not here.
Oh, here comes Briggs.
Well, then that would make it 20-1.
Back.
But now,
It's
20-22.
21-1.
So I'm like,
Yes.
Resolution number 117, confirming appointment of a member to the Community Services Board.
We are a short yes with one no. Mary Morrow, who's not in the room.
we're short yes.
Short yes.
Short yes.
With one no, Legislator
With
Warrow.
one no, Mary Morrow.
We are a short yes with one no. Legislator Donaldson.
So she could come in late and
Yeah.
Do we call?
Yep, the resolution is adopted 21-2.
All right.
No, 19.
119.
Sorry. Resolution number 119, authorizing the chairman of the Ulster County Legislature to execute a state assistance contract with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for grant funding for the Butternut Cove Culvert Rehabilitation and Slope Stabilization Project along the Ulster and Delaware Railroad Corridor.
We are a short yes
Can I
with.
just say one thing quick?
Legislator Parity.
I'll be brief. I'm just concerned that I read Legislator Donaldson's email about how this is not being made retrofit for future train use. And I think that's not good. And no matter what the outcome is, I respect it, but I think by not rehabbing that thing to where it needs to be, because New York City may cut us off someday with walking traffic, another terrorist attack. They're worried about water quality. Most of the legislators in here have never dealt with New York City and how they have treated some of the communities and people in those communities and the watershed communities. And if they cut the walking trail off and we can have the railroad in perpetuity and can go back to it, and this isn't rehabbed, the place is going to be closed down for good, forever. So I just think if we're going to do it, let's fix the stupid thing the right way and make sure it's got all the uses can be used on it. So I'll be a no.
On the resolution.
Short yes with two no's, Legislator Warrow and Parity.
We are a short yes with two no's. Legislators Donaldson and Green.
The resolution is adopted 19-4.
Resolution 120, amending the 2017 Ulster County budget to appropriate forfeiture revenue, Ulster County Sheriff.
Legislator Bartels.
Thank you. You can call me paranoid, but I have a strong suspicion that in the majority leader's address, she may have been referring to me when she talked about her frustration regarding members asking questions about urgent. And yes, I am guilty as charged. I am going to be a no to this resolution because urgent still has a policy in place that allows for children to be used as criminal informants in police work, dangerous and important police work. Until that is addressed, which I hope one day it will be, and I keep working on it, I'm going to be a no.
We are a short yes.
We're a short yes with one no. Legislator Bartels.
The resolution is adopted 22-1.
Resolution 123, establishing capital project number 484, Poorhouse Memorial, Department of Public Works, Buildings and Grounds.
Mr. Briggs.
Legislator Briggs.
I just wanted to explain, I'm going to be a no on this. I found $100,000 for anti-cyberbullying. I like statues as much as the next guy. And believe me, every time I travel, my wife finds every statue in every country ever invented, and we have to go look at it. But that's true. But in this day and age of money being tight, I'm sure there's a road, a program, or something that could use $100,000 more than we need to build a statue and some pavers and some shrubbery and some rocks that are similar to that fell off the mountain the week before over on the fairground site. So, in trying to look after the taxpayer here a little bit, I mean, I know we spend a lot of money, and I know it's only $100,000 of $325 million, but I think it could be better used somewhere else. So I'll be a no on both this and the bond.
Legislator Bartels.
I'm going to be a yes on this, but I just want to acknowledge that I hear Legislator Briggs' concerns. I think that this is an important project in terms of recognizing our history in this county, but I do hope that the executive works hard to bring it as significantly under budget as possible. Thank you, Legislator Briggs.
Legislator Berkey.
Yes, I'm also going to be a yes because I appreciate what this is about, but I just wanted to also echo the question regarding budgets being potentially exaggerated in order to make sure that we bring them in under cost. And I think that that's not really the best practice in terms of design and construction, and that it would behoove us, as Legislator Rodriguez spoke to in his speech, that as we explore ways of looking at open government and ways of looking at how we go through the project cycle in design and construction and other expenditures, that we incorporate something called value engineering from our side, in which we can verify the cost estimates of construction so that we can decide whether or not we're really being responsible with exaggerated cost estimates that might end up providing incentives for contractors to go over costs. Thank you.
We're a short yes.
We're a short yes with one no. Legislator Briggs.
The resolution is adopted 22-1.
That was the capital project.
Resolution number 124, authorizing the construction of a memorial to the Ulster County Poorhouse at the Ulster County Fairgrounds in and for the County of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $100,000, and authorizing the issuance of $100,000 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof.
Allen. Yes. Bartels.
Yes.
Belfilio.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a remark about why I'm going to vote yes on this $100,000 bond.
Sure?
Yes. I mean, first of all, I don't know why the county wants to pay homage to the old poorhouse when we sold our poorhouse a couple of years ago for $11.5 million. Now we're spending another $100,000. Why don't we let the current owners of the poorhouse or infirmary or whatever you want to call it now, Golden Hill, pay for this? I'll go with it. I just find it the juxtaposition between the fact that 3 years ago we just got rid of it, we didn't want anything to do with it, and now we're paying homage to the very thing that we got rid of. But I'll be a yes.
It's a different. That's the wrong resolution.
No, it's a different.
That's where it started. The poorhouse was the alms for the poor. It started in New Paltz. It moved to Flatbush Avenue, and then it moved to become a skilled nursing facility up in Golden Hill. Okay? That is what I'm talking about. That's exactly it. If we want to know our history, know our history. Our history was the poorhouse in New Paltz. That's where all the indigents went. I'm still a yes, but I just find it interesting that we threw Golden Hill under the bus, and now we're spending another $100,000.
Berkey.
Yes.
Briggs.
No.
DeLon.
Yes.
Donaldson.
Just for a point of information, the alms house, the poorhouse that was on Flatbush Avenue was not built by the county, it was built by the municipality of Kingston. It was the first municipal building put up by the city. So I will support this, and this is now being done in New Paltz. That's where the county had their poorhouse.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Gerantine.
How does he vote? Yes.
He said he'll support it. Green.
Yes.
Hefner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
Maloney. Parity John. Parity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts.
No, and please change my vote on the prior resolution.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
And Worrell.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted 21-2, and for the record, the vote on Resolution 123 is 21-2.
Resolution 126, authorizing the construction of improvements to the county's Golden Hill Facility water tower in and for the county of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $640,640, and authorizing the issuance of $640,640 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof.
Allen.
Yes.
Bartels.
Yes.
Belfilio.
We need water in Golden Hill, yes.
Berkey.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
DeLon.
Yes.
Donaldson.
Yes.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Gerantine.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Hefner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
Maloney.
Yes.
Parity John.
Yes.
Parity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
And Worrell.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted 23-0.
Resolution 128, authorizing the realignment and reconstruction of the intersection at New Paltz Road and South Chautauqua Lake Road in the town of Lloyd, in and for the county of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $320,000, and authorizing the issuance of $320,000 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof.
Allen.
Yes.
Bartels.
Yes.
Belfilio.
Yes.
Berkey.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
DeLon.
Yes.
Donaldson.
As a representative of the city of Kingston that gets absolutely no roads or bridges taken care of, I will still be a yes.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Gerantine. Green.
Yes.
Hefner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes, and it's about time.
Lopez.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo.
I'll say it again, it's about time, yes.
Maloney.
Yes.
Parity John.
Yes.
Parity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
And Worrell.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted 23-0.
Resolution 130, authorizing the reconstruction of the Public Works Administration Building in and for the county of Ulster, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $148,000, and authorizing the issuance of $148,000 bonds of said county to pay the cost thereof.
Allen.
Yes.
Bartels.
Yes.
Delphilio.
Yes.
Berkey.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
DeLon.
Yes.
Donaldson.
Yes.
Fabiano.
Yes.
Gerantine. Green.
Yes.
Hefner.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
Maloney.
Yes.
Parity John.
Yep.
Parity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ronk.
Yes.
And Morrow.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted 23-0.
Memorializing Resolution Number 92, requesting the New York State Legislature introduce legislation expanding the hate crimes law, New York Penal Law, Section 485.05.
I'd like to propose a wild idea. If the legislature doesn't want to go for it, that's fine. Have it a long roll and everybody explains their vote. Or we could do a debate. It's up to you. Okay.
We can do debate, right? Yeah, we'll do debate.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Oh, wait, there's a debate.
Long roll.
It's a long one anyway. I was gonna say, it's like, there's no debate.
Good call.
I'm like, yeah, it was like,
It's late.
Getting tired.
yeah, no, we're all a little tired, so. Forgot.
Allen.
I know, I remember that. I know, is this?
Chairman,
I
I'm going to explain my vote. Last week, a New York City...
Chairman. Point of order, Chairman.
Oh, Legislator Lapp?
I think Mr. Lapp wants to make an amendment.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Legislator Lapp, motion to amend?
Motion to amend Resolution 92, Mr. Chairman, from the word whereas in the beginning to the word whereas in the end, and the resolve. The wordage in the amendment should read, and does read, including but not limited to fire personnel and emergency medical services, EMS.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the amendment?
Short yes.
Short yes.
The amendment is adopted 23-0.
Now long roll.
On the resolution as amended, Allen.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to explain my vote. Last week in New York City, FDN ambulance driver was run over in the Bronx by a man who attempted to steal her ambulance as she pulled over to do her job and attempting to do her duties as an EMT first responder and assist somebody. It was during the snowstorm. She was killed quite violently in the traffic accident, run over by her own ambulance. She was a mother of 5. I know I myself have had my life saved twice by volunteer ambulance. My mother has had her life saved twice. My father had his life saved twice, as did my late sister. In December 2012 in Webster, New York, an arsonist purposely set fire and laid in wait in order to set a trap for 4 firefighters, shooting them, killing 2 of them, and injuring 2 of them quite severely. They were all first responders. On July 8th, 2016, at a peaceful protest march for Black Lives Matter in downtown Dallas, Texas, to exercise First Amendment rights against questionable shootings of African American men, a lone sniper killed 5 police officers. When police searched the gunman's home, they found bomb-making materials, guns, and a self-written manifesto on how to shoot and kill police and statements about the lone gunman hating police. Also in 2016, there were numerous other incidents, one in Des Moines, Iowa, where 2 police officers were ambushed and killed while sitting alone in separate police vehicles. The first officer was shot, and then the responding officer who came was also shot. There was also some other incidents in 2016, copycat type incidents, where in San Antonio, Texas, a police officer was ambushed and shot and killed while 2 other police officers were wounded in similar shooting incidents in St. Louis, Missouri and Pennsylvania. Semantically, as a lawmaker, the reality is that this is never going to go anywhere as a law. It will never make it up into through the New York State Assembly.
But I thought memorializing resolutions worked.
Right, isn't that what point of order for, right? So, thanks in the peanut gallery, Chairman Parity. Essentially, I'm going to vote yes on this resolution for the reason that, in my district, I represent the Town of Saugerties Police Department. Joseph Sinagra has taken a step that no other police department in Ulster County has taken. He is using money in his budget to get cameras, body cameras, so that his police force in the town of Saugerties, where I represent, are accountable for their actions. I represent several large fire companies that are volunteer in my district, and I represent the Diaz Ambulance Memorial Service. Like I stated before, has saved my life twice and members of my family's lives. I think that a resolution like this, while it's never going to go anywhere, it sends a good statement to society, and it shouldn't be conflated as being something that should be associated with Black Lives Matter movement. Essentially, we need to allow the police to protect our First Amendment rights and prevent incidents like what happened in Dallas when the police were trying to protect the First Amendment rights of protesters who were part of the Black Lives Matter movement. So I will be voting yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Bartels.
Thank you. I believe that this resolution, while emotional, is misguided. Crimes against police and first responders already hold enhanced penalties. As Legislator Allen just referenced, what happened, the horrible crime in Webster, as a result of that, the Webster provision in the SAFE Act was enacted, and as a result of that provision, murder of a first responder who is engaged in his or her duty is a Class A1 felony with a mandatory penalty of life in prison without the possibility of parole, which in a state that does not have the death penalty is the highest penalty possible. That same crime committed against a non-first responder would not necessarily hold the same charge. When the first of these types of legislation was moving through the Louisiana legislature, the ADL said this: the ADL strongly believes that the list of personal characteristics included in hate crime laws should remain limited to immutable characteristics, those qualities that can or should not be changed. Working in a profession is not a personal characteristic and is not immutable. As a society, we make great efforts to help protect law enforcement and ensure they receive justice. Additionally, ADL is concerned that expanding the characteristics including in bias crime laws may open the door to a myriad of other categories to be added and simultaneously dilute current hate crimes legislation. This bill confuses the purpose of the Hate Crimes Act and weakens its impact by adding more categories of people who are better protected under other laws. I agree with that statement, and I think if we were to look at professions that face a kind of prejudice and go across them all and add them all to the laws, one of the first ones we would have to add as an amendment to this request would be abortion providers who are targeted for their profession, who are gunned down for their profession. I'm not going to offer that as an amendment because it would be hypocritical, because I believe that too would dilute the hate crimes bill. And for those reasons, I'm a no.
D'Ophelio.
I'm a yes.
Berkey.
I'd like to explain my... Seems to be off.
It's on, just hold it.
Text me, I'll say it.
Testing? Okay. I'd like to explain my no vote. I agree with the reasons mentioned by Legislator Bartels. As a member of a protected class and as someone who has brought forth legislation here regarding human rights and transgender rights that have not yet really seen the light of day here in the legislature, I believe that there are other unprotected classes here in Ulster County that we have failed to recognize. And I think that as she points out, that 48505, the hate crimes legislation, is really about protected classes. It is about immutable characteristics that we carry with us. I'm lucky to be able to potentially pass, which is amazing to me that I live in a county where I feel like I have to pass as a non-Jew sometimes to avoid discrimination, but that's the truth. However, I know other members of our community who cannot avoid that and cannot avoid discrimination. and we need to protect them. We need to understand that this hate crimes legislation is about protecting the classes that have been severely discriminated institutionally for decades, if not centuries, in our country. So I'm going to be a no because I think there are other tools in our toolbox already for protecting to the full force of our law our very very valued first responders. But this is not the place to do it. Thank you.
Briggs?
Yes.
DeLon?
No.
Donaldson?
Yes. I might like to explain my vote also. Law enforcement, as has already been pointing out, has already given special consideration, and they should have special consideration, as should first responders. As Legislator Bartels pointed out, attacking the law enforcement is already as enhanced penalties. Hate crimes are about protection due to race, sex, sexual orientation, and religion, and meant to protect because they don't have special consideration, but are targeted historically and right on through to today. We should not weaken the hate crimes legislation that grew out of the civil rights movements. If you did, and you want to add occupations, you would need to add teachers have been attacked at one point because they were teachers. Just as pointed out by Legislator Bartels, is abortion doctors are attacked because of their occupation. And I am sure others are attacked because of their occupation. In fact, Metro North, if you drive in the Metro North, you get on one of their cars and you'll see a sign that says, assaulting a railroad employee doing their job is very punishable like that of affecting an officer because they are carrying out as a conductor doing their job to try to keep orderly peace on the train. So by adding this into the hate crimes, it weakens that law, those laws, but does not do anything to enhance the laws that are already on the books to protect first responders and police, which they should be protected. And I really think it sends the wrong message. So I am a no.
Fabiano?
Yes.
Gerantine? Green?
I'd just like to explain my vote, my opposition. And in so doing, I want to say this one is a really hard decision. But Chief Tinty was mentioned before, and I want to commend Chief Tinty and the Kingston Police Department for their direct communication to build understanding between the police and community members in the city of Kingston, along with the Ministers Alliance and NJAN, which is the End Jim Crow Action Network. And I think those are the kinds of things that we need to do to promote understanding, and that's what's going to ultimately protect everyone. In this case, it's a technicality. I don't think that the intent belongs in penal law number 485.05. I however, have the greatest respect for our first responders. Thank you. So I am voting no.
Hefner?
I just wanted to briefly commend the sponsor, Legislator Lapp, because I believe he brought this memorializing resolution forward because he truly does care about this issue and he's not trying to be political. But again, it's an issue he cares about. So I just wanted to commend him for that, but I will be a no.
Lapp?
Yeah.
Litz?
I will be a yes, and I will explain my vote. Hate crimes are crimes that are perpetrated on individuals not because of something they've done, not because the individual that perpetrates the crime knows the individual or for some latent reason wants to harm them or kill them, but solely because those people belong to a class of people. If you wear a yarmulke, you might get beat up or killed. If you're gay, you might get beat up or killed. If you, some other religion, these crimes are perpetrated, they're hateful crimes, they're typically premeditated. And just because you wear a uniform of a firefighter, a first responder, or a police officer, it doesn't mean that it's not a hate crime. So I will be voting yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
Maloney.
I don't see how anyone can look a police officer, an EMS person, an ambulance person in the eye if they voted no tonight. Those people put their lives on the line every single shift that they go in. And you should be thankful that they are all out there doing a job, paid or unpaid. If you ever call 911 in the middle of the night, people are there. I've had 20 firefighters in my living room for one little old lady at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. That's not dedication. These people, they protect us every day, and we should be supporting them. I'm voting yes.
Harity John.
I've been a firefighter. I was a firefighter for 25 to 30 years. I vote no.
Harity Richard.
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
No.
Ronk.
Yes.
And Waro.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted 15 to 8.
Memorializing Resolution Number 135, opposing a full repeal of the Affordable Care Act without a comparable and immediate replacement plan that is ready for implementation.
Legislator Allen.
Mr. Chairman, in order to create a dialogue about healthcare in the juncture that the United States healthcare system is in at this point in time, I put up a resolution about 6 weeks ago to call attention to the tenets of the affordable.
There's no debate.
I mean,
I believe he's about to make a
We're
withdrawal or a
gonna
motion.
get to the point.
We're gonna get to the point.
He's also.
I had amendments up, I could call for a long roll and put the amendments
And
up.
that's okay.
That's what you have to do.
What are we gonna do, Legislator Allen? We're gonna withdraw it? Are we going to amend it? Are we going to refer it back to
I
committee?
wanted to explain why I'm gonna withdraw it, okay? Can I do that?
Very, very briefly. No, he can withdraw it at any time.
Yeah, you got him.
I wanted to provide some,
What's that?
I wanted to call attention to
You've
the.
got 45 seconds.
I wanted to call attention, actually, I believe what the rules say I have 5 minutes. I wanted to call attention to the tenets of the Affordable Care Act that need to be left intact within the structure of our healthcare system, and I wanted to provide some suggestions and ideas on how our healthcare system can be improved upon to fill the gaps within the structure of our healthcare system that still leaves many within our society without health insurance or means through which they can receive healthcare treatment.
15 seconds.
for sickness, diseases, injuries, and ill health. In the last 3 weeks, the U.S. House of Representatives introduced the Federal Health Care Act, which both surprised me because I did not think our current Congress would put up any healthcare bills for at least 2 months.
5 seconds.
And it made my resolution 135 a moot point from a legislative perspective. Because of this, I added numerous amendments to the resolution 135 to address areas of deep concern I have that the American Care Act that was put forth by Congress several weeks ago made me have. I will not receive the 12 votes here tonight in order for these amendments to pass. So I'll just briefly explain what my concerns are in them.
Mr. Chairman, you briefly explained it. You're either going to withdraw it or we're going to go to a long roll, Legislator Allen.
Mr. Chairman, as a co-sponsor, may I ask to go long roll?
We are doing them all.
No.
Yeah, but you're technically not a
I want it to end,
No.
so whatever, I'm the co-sponsor.
Legislator Belfiglio, if you do a long roll, it's not gonna end. Legislator Allen.
Could you leave your comments with the clerk and we'll read them?
Is he withdrawing? Motion to adjourn.
Technically,
Technically, that's a legal, that's a legal motion technically, so.
I object.
Takes precedence over everything else.
I object to the motion.
Non-debatable.
I will
Is there a
make,
second to the motion to adjourn?
I will make, I will make a motion
Now
to
you have to go
withdraw.
over the objection.
I'll second the motion to withdraw.
No, but hey, but just don't play that game. I got you. I got you.
I'll second the motion to withdraw.
He just withdrew it.
Thank you, Legislator Allen.
Thank you.
I'd like the second.
Sure, then I'll adjourn the same day.
No,
The whole
it's
session's
just
over.
withdrawn.
You want me to do that?
That's the last resolution for the evening. The next regular meeting of the Ulster County Legislature will be held April 18th, 2017 at 7 p.m. in the Legislative Chambers, 6th floor, Ulster County Office Building, 244 Fair Street, Kingston, New York. Resolution deadline is Wednesday, March 29th at 12 noon. Everybody please stay still for a moment. Legislator Lopez is going to read the names of those we're adjourning in memory of. I would like to, before he begins, call attention to just one of them. Margaret Peg Tremper, who was the town clerk of the town of Shawangum since before I was born, passed away last month, and she's going to be sorely missed by the community. Legislator Lopez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're adjourning tonight in the memory of the following. Margaret Tremper, Pine Bush. Robert Stippick, Senior, Walkill. Lottie Seven, Walkill. Paul Elderson, Port Ewing. Esther Peters, Hurley. Gordon Rhodes, New Paltz. Harold Williams Jr., Kingston. Mark Caro, Yellen, Bronx. Robert Boyer, Cotterkill. Ruth McDonough, Kingston. Kenneth J. McAvoy, Kingston. Nancy Twilliger, Stone Ridge. William Fisher, New Paltz. Donald Joel, Naples. Anthony Sura, Saugerties. Charles Eggleton, Senior, Walkill. Anthony Cantella, Senior, Walkill. Jerry Fiji, Walkill. John Brown, Oskow. Susan Gray, Walkill. Roger Lapp, Ollisbridge. Major Lloyd, Pine Hill. Donald Keeter, Ackerd. Ron Buckey, Ripton. Mary White, Sabini, Gardner. Gloria Russo, Kingston. William Twilliger, Saugerties. Lucy Buckman, Saugerties. Francis Sabrini III, New Paltz. John Kelly, Saugerties. Ann Riley, Hurley. Nellie G. Moore, Necrato, Saugerties. Ronald Page, Kingston. And Helen Fogarty, Lake Katrine.
Legislator Parity? Oh, Legislator Worrow. Oh,
Is this on?
yes.
Karen Zimbrella from Saugerties, John Teeter from Saugerties, and Sue Peters O'Connor from Saugerties, and also Catherine Puglisi from New Paltz. She was with the Office for the Aging for a while in the Cornell Cooperative Board.
Thank you. Legislator Maloney?
John
can
go first if you'd like. Do you have a memorializing? No.
May I just, for the good of the order,
briefly, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is going to be brief. But 2 years ago, this legislature passed some legislation that organized a coalition for narcotics. Tonight, I know one other legislator was down at the Kate Walton Fieldhouse. It was a packed house. You could hear a pin drop. People are so worried about
opiate abuse, heroin addiction. There was something like